And here we go again. Arizona's outspoken sheriff, Joe Arpaio, up for re-election, revving the whole debunked birther controversy again. He's unveiled preliminary results from an investigation into the president's birth certificate.
We believe probable cause exists indicating that forgery and fraud may have been committed.
Richard Louie, that is just the beginning. There is a series of old attacks that we thought were settled being relaunched at the press.
Deep in the goodie bag here, Chris. It's 2008 all over again. Sheriff Arpaio, as you just saw, picking up on the birther issue where Trump left off. That's attack number one. Attack two, infanticide.
Not once did anybody in the elite media ask why Barack Obama voted in favor of legalizing infanticide.
All right, Newt Gingrich points to 10-year-old Illinois bills protecting infants surviving botched abortions. Then State Senator Obama voted against them because he said it undermined Roe v. Wade. Here's attack number three.
The Muslim world sees Barack Obama as a Muslim, as a son of Islam. That's just the way it works. That's the way they see him. But, of course, he says he didn't grow up that way. He didn't believe in that. He believes in Jesus Christ. So I accept that. Well,
critics say Franklin Graham fueled questions about the president's Christian faith. He later apologized. Attacks 4 and 5, they're new. Chief U.S. District Judge Richard Siebel of Montana forwarded an email called A Mom's Memory. It says, quote, a little boy said to his mother, Mommy, how come I'm black and you're white? His mother replied, don't even go there, Barack. From what I can remember about that party, you're lucky you don't bark. He's apologized in a letter to the president and faces a judicial misconduct review now. Finally, a D.C. Metro ad for an anti-Obama documentary said, go to hell, Barack. Chris, those are 5 attacks just since last week, and we've got 35 until the election.
Okay, Richard, well, thank you. Unbelievable. Let's bring in Washington Post political columnist Dana Milbank and Huffington Post senior political reporter Amanda Terkel. Dana, what's going on?
Well, Chris, I think we have a major flare-up of Obama derangement syndrome. And this is something that happens on both sides, and, you know, people just go over the top. And I think it's occurring now, as Richard mentioned, these are themes have surfaced at various times before. I think what you see happening now, Obama is doing much better in the polls vis-a-vis his would-be Republican opponents. His popularity is up. There's a lot of frustration, and I think that's why all of this is coming back now. I think, you know, but, you know, the third, fourth time you've been through the birther thing, it seems to have a little bit of a diminished impact each time.
Yeah, but you got to wonder, I mean, did anybody see the election results in 2008? I mean, Amanda, it didn't work then. I mean, maybe, what do they think? They're firing up their base? I mean, is their base going to vote for Barack Obama? I'm trying to figure out the rationale for this.
Well, a lot of these attacks are coming from pretty fringe elements of the conservative movement, and Republicans don't want to embrace them, and that's why the Obama campaign, for example, was playing the birther issue up, joking about it on their Facebook timeline, putting up a picture of a mug with Obama's birth certificate, joking about it on Twitter, and they had used the opportunity to point out that Mitt Romney really wanted Sheriff Joe Arpaio's vote in 2008. So the Obama campaign is trying to have a sense of humor about these and take advantage of them politically.
It's true. They did make a joke out of it. Do you think that, Dana, these attacks could have quite the opposite effect? Do you think they fire up Democrats? They you know, might get them actually to do something?
Well, sure. I mean, it does rally people on the Democratic side. It is interesting that, you know, Amanda was saying it's fringe elements, which of course these things are, but you're also hearing this. You know, you have Rick Santorum saying the president's theology is not based on the Bible. You have Newt Gingrich, who talks about his Obama's Kenyan colonial worldview, and you have Mitt Romney, who has embraced the biggest birther of them all, Donald Trump. So this is in many ways because of the primary being brought into the mainstream. That will rile up some Democrats, but more importantly, what it does to the independent voters, crucial in the general election, is say, wait a second, these guys sound like they're a little bit out there.
Yeah, you know, I just wonder if the whole discourse, I know we say this, Amanda, but it does seem to me like the political discourse is, from what we just saw, absolutely incredibly off the mark and over the top, whether it's, you know, Sandra Fluke and, you know, what Rush said about her, and then following up with the whole idea of putting out sex videos. I mean, the whole thing is so crazy. Or even just to something last night, I mean, even from Newt Gingrich, you know, who was talking about how irrelevant the other candidates are. They're just the same old baloney. One is a Massachusetts moderate baloney. The other is Pennsylvania big labor baloney. It doesn't rise to the level of the other things we're talking about, but it sure seems to bring the level of political discourse down a couple of notches, doesn't it?
Well, a lot of this has been happening since the 2008 campaign. I mean, to be honest, having the first African-American president has brought out some really nasty, ugly, and often racist attacks. Having a president with a different background, we see these attacks on his religion, questioning whether he was really born in this country, and that's something that, you know, President Obama has to face because he does have a bit different background from a lot of other candidates, and these are, I mean, as Dana said, they are being fueled by the presidential candidates, but a lot of these fringe elements in the conservative movement as well.
Call me ridiculously hopeful, Dana, but let me pose this question to you. Is it possible that a common sense Republican could come out and instead of saying, well, if the president says he's a Christian, I'll believe him that he's a Christian, and actually say something affirmative like, this is stupid, let's stop this.
You're
ridiculously
this is wrong.
Chris. Okay. I mean, aren't there independents out there that they want to vote for them that would actually think that that was a good thing that might actually move people in their direction?
I think you will see this when there is a candidate for, when there is a nominee Republican side, then there will be that sister soldier moment when they turn on the base to some extent. We thought Mitt Romney was doing that with this birth control legislation when he came out opposed to the legislation going through the Senate, but then he quickly retreated and realized, well, it's a little too early to start thwarting the base. So I think it will come. It's not naive to think that, but this is not the time for that.
Yeah, unfortunately. And we should say that there are some Republicans who are out there, at least in the commentary world, who are saying, you know, we're killing ourselves with this stuff. Always great to see you, Dana. Amanda, thank you so much. Have a great weekend to both of you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.